Yeah, you sound a little under the weather.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic. We do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and we got my man Ray from Motormouth Radio. What's up, Ray?
Lewis, good to be here again another week.
These weeks come quick.
Yes, sir. And
So I want to tell everybody in the chat that you can see this show on PowerTube TV every Saturday night, and those are the best of Playing in Traffic. So what I'm doing is I'm picking a lot of our great or our best interviews, and we're putting them on that system. So you can check it out. You can hear the podcast and check us out on Roku. How you say it?
Roku, yeah.
Yeah. So we're everywhere. So just type in Playing in Traffic and you can find us.
Yeah, there are so many ways to find content these days, so many different places, and there's so it seems like the content is growing.
Yeah.
You can have guy mechanics, girl mechanics, you can have old guys, young guys, everything's out there. There's something for everybody.
I'm starting to see a lot of younger kids too, like under 15, like kids.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
I haven't seen that.
Starting to become a big thing, I think.
So, I mean, that's got to be. I know there's this girl, a young girl who rebuilds carburetors, and she's been all over the place. Mm-hmm. And you got to say, okay, that's an anomaly. How many young girls even know what a carburetor is, let alone want to rebuild them? So I don't know. Do you think these are kids that are just like outside the box, that are just those phenoms that, that's a weird gift that, otherwise you'd never know about?
Yeah, probably. Nelson's daughter, she's one of them. She
right.
welds and builds torque converters, and she can do it all.
Right.
But yeah, you're probably right. It's probably a small margin of little or smaller kids, but it's a good thing that they're getting out there.
On that note, it reminds me. This morning, I was sitting there in the kitchen, and I'm watching Chips. So on my favorite show. Mm-hmm. So there was an episode. In this particular episode, there was a little boy, and he was 4 years old. So he kind of was hanging around the boys with their bikes and telling them, "I got a motorcycle at home. It's just like yours." And they're like, "Yeah, sure you do." Well, he ends up going missing. They find him. They bring him home to his mom. Single mother, she's divorced, and he says, "Oh, Mom, can I show my bike? Can I show my bike?" Yeah. Well, he uncovers his little baby trail bike, mm-hmm. but a full, a working bike, and the guys go look at it and say, "Hey, yeah, that is just like ours." So he goes and he's riding it around this dirt yard, and literally, this kid is 4 years old riding this little trail bike. So they couldn't fake that. This is the 70s too, so they didn't have the technologies they do now. Yeah. And I was telling my wife, I said, "Now there's a kid. Like, what did he ever become? Did he become like, a famous dirt bike rider or a trails rider, or, because at 4 years old, this kid was riding a trail bike. It's like crazy."
Have you seen the videos of this little kid? He has those not remote control cars, those what do you call them? Like the Jeeps and stuff you can buy little kids.
Electric the ones that they sit in and drive, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a kid on internet. His family must be super rich because he has probably 30 cars, all different. Like he has Lamborghinis, Ferraris, wow. Jeeps, trucks, Hummers. He has like everything. Not only does he have the cars and they have wheels and stuff on them, but he's pulling trailers and backhoes and everything works.
Wow.
And I haven't seen he pulls his mom around, his sister, and around the yard, and they got like trails with concrete trails. And wow. He has motorcycles. I mean, he just has everything. Like he's and he drives them really good too.
Do they show you the storage facility? Like how does he park them?
He has his own garage. He pulls in the garage, and all his cars are lined up, just like a rich person. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to find his channel and put it up because
that is crazy. Yeah. That is nutty.
Yep. So the topic tonight was on car shows or car cruises. They're starting to pop up everywhere around us.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to hear from other people, what they in their areas, what car shows or cruises are happening.
I'll tell you, in general, here by me, every year there's more and more. I mean, the list has grown.
Mhm.
And we have here on Long Island what's called the Car Council, and that's a group. Usually, it's hosted by a local club, and what they would do is get together every year and work out the calendar, and the intent was so that you wouldn't have two shows on the same day.
Right.
Well, there are so many damn shows now. First of all, now we need to break it up a couple different ways, like you know the county I'm in, Nassau, needs its own, and Suffolk could have probably two separate councils because there's so many clubs. There's no way it's impossible not to have stuff on the same day.
Wow.
The good thing is some of it is far enough away from each other where it won't impact each other. But I've seen fights at these meetings. That's our day. No, that's the only day we can do it. That's been my day for 5 years. Ooh.
Yeah.
We got kicked out of the council. They yeah, we have friends in these clubs, so they invited us, Chris and I, down there. Oh, I don't know how many years ago it was, and we said, listen, we're not a club, we're a radio show, but what we want to do is we want to promote you guys.
Mhm.
So we invited guys from the clubs to come in and come into the show and talk about their event. We'll give you free publicity.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked for a while, and we made some really good friends, some good alliances with certain clubs.
Mhm.
And then one year, somebody in the meeting, we weren't at it that year, and they said they wanted to make an amendment and a change that we don't want those radio guys here. And
Really?
we had friends in the group, good friends in the group, and some of them said, "What do you mean those radio guys?" It's like, what are you getting at? You're making it sound like there's some kind of subversive plot. Well, we just don't want anybody airing our laundry. And then my one buddy Dennis said, listen, they don't report on what happens in the meeting. They could care less what happens in the meeting. That's not what they're here for. They're here to help you knucklehead.
Yeah.
Well, this guy pushed it. So I said, first of all, tell me who it is. And they wouldn't tell me who it was. I was like, we'll go after this guy.
I'm sure it wasn't hard to find out, though.
Yeah. I did find out later on. I said, you know what? Fine. We don't have to go. We have the clubs that we're aligned with, and we'll still work with them. We'll still go to we would go to their shows. We had them on our show. And I said, if that's how they want to run it, then fine. They can run it that way. We don't really give a shit. But, you're going to see all sorts of crazy stuff. Everybody thinks you're up to something, but.
Yep. And that's usually the person that's up to something.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that, and then we moved on. We said, you know what, it's not worth the aggravation. It's we extended the invitation, and most clubs did not take us up on it, but the ones that did, we're still affiliated with to this day.
Good. That's all. That's what matters. The people that are there for you.
Right.
Yep. So we got a couple here. Lowellville is a small town, about 20 minutes from Youngstown. Not even that, 15, 20 minutes. But they've been growing every year. They got a nice showing. It's every Monday.
Right.
And we got a couple places where guys just meet up. You know what I mean? It's not really like a cars and coffee or anything. But we got a lot of guys that cruise the avenue.
Yeah, we've always had. I mean, back to the 70s when I was in a car club. I mean, we would have meetings and whatever, and then we would hang out in the shopping center. We would go down there like 8, 9 at night when like most of the stores were closed already. And then after that, there's like 1 or 2 stores at the end, but we stayed on the other side, and it was just our hangout, and like, if you want to find us, go to the Lincoln Shopping Center. That's where we're going to be. Yeah. And it was cool. But I was just telling someone about that, how through it was through the pandemic, through COVID, like everything stopped. And then some of the cruise nights that you could really see got some attention and some negative attention. So I said, well, guys being car guys, what did they do? They found places that had lots behind the buildings, and that's where they met. I said, guys are going to meet. They're going to find a place to hang out. I don't care where it is. They're going to find a place to hang out. And they did.
Yeah, we got Quaker Steak and Lube. They have a bike night and a car night.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. You go eat and, see some people and get out of there before it before it gets wild.
You know, the big one by me at the train station has always been like that. You go like there's guys that are there at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They want to get a spot under the train. There's still all commuters in the train station parking lot.
Mhm.
And then the major crowd comes in, and then it used to be years ago by like 9 o'clock. This is on a Friday night. By 9, 10 o'clock, most of the old guys were already gone, and now the tuna crowd started coming in.
Yeah.
So that flushed out a whole bunch of other guys who didn't want to be part of it. We would stay. And then the tuna guys, they were all the younger guys, and they were a little more rowdy and ruckus and all. And you know, and now it's just kind of filtered in where it's just everybody all at one shot. It's
Right.
a lot of cars. There's a lot of cars. You know,
That's cool. Let's get the fellas in and see what they're talking about.
Or do you want? Yeah, I was just gonna say I just watched something and they said it was based in Youngstown, Ohio, but I'm trying to remember what it was.
Explosion.
No, yeah, I know, a car bomb.
No, really, a building blew up the other day.
Oh no, this was a show. This was actually a show that was, you know, the
Oh,
characters were in. They said they were in Youngstown, but then I looked it up and they actually filmed it somewhere else. It wasn't filmed in Youngstown.
Oh yeah.
What the hell did I watch?
Yeah, if you Google Youngstown, all kind of stuff will come up.
Yeah, a lot of history.
Just 2 days ago, one of the old buildings downtown exploded. They were doing construction, and I guess one of the construction guys cut one of the gas lines. They thought it was a dead line, but it apparently wasn't, and
right.
it blew the whole first floor out.
Yeah,
and I mean it's pretty bad. One person died. I think 20 injured, but and there's apartments above that, so it didn't hurt anybody upstairs. But man, it could have been really, really bad.
Oh, sure.
And usually at that time of the day, it's usually a lot of traffic in that area. And for some reason, it wasn't.
Right. That's lucky. Yeah, it is lucky.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joey and Arco and Paul, they all stayed in the hotel directly across the street.
No fooling. Wow.
When they were here, yeah. And it was it's probably say 60 feet from the hotel where they stayed.
Wow. So I'm sure that hotel rocked.
Oh yeah. You should see the video. They showed it on the news. It looked like one of those movie explosions where everything just blows out.
Right.
Oh man, it was pretty bad.
And the old guy in the lobby said, "Is it 1975 again?"
Yeah. That was the first thought of people, man, is they're blowing us up again.
Right. Yeah, the guys that lived through it the first time. Yeah.
We were called the bomb city of USA.
Well, I did do some research on that, and I found out, I mean, where you guys are strategically placed between New York and the Midwest.
Chicago.
Chicago, and then California. A lot of the mob stuff happened there because of that, because it was like neutral ground.
Yep, they meet here.
Meet on the 50-yard line, you know?
Yep. We're exactly 8 hours from New York and 8 hours from Chicago, but that was when the speed limit was 55.
Right.
And
but still, it was a middle ground.
Yeah, they always used to meet here, and then a lot of them stayed here.
And back then, it was probably, you know, it wasn't affiliated with anything. So you say, okay, it's open territory, so you know we can all go and you know and be at a truce.
Yep.
And
there was a lot of steel mills here. At one time, we produced more steel than any other city or state in the country. Wow. And so that's part of the reason they stayed here. Some of them stayed here because there's a lot of money here.
Right.
In steel mills. Yep.
Yeah. That was those were the days when we made stuff.
Yep.
You know, even if it was just steel.
Yeah, it's sad, ain't it?
Yes, it is. It really is.
So let's get the fellas in and see what they're talking about.
Yeah, let's see what's going on.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Hey,
all right, there he is.
Good evening.
Going on, fellas?
Good evening.
Yeah.
Another Thursday night. They come like it's every other day.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I didn't even think it. Wasn't even thinking about today what day it was, and I saw the notification pop up. I'm like, oh, okay, it's Thursday.
Whatever you do, don't leave the screen and come back. So that means you're gonna knock me off. So
Let's
Yeah.
mess up the flow.
that was the weirdest thing in the world last week.
Oh, it was. Yeah, you could hear me, but no one else.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly.
But I do have a list of car shows to go over, but I'll let everybody else get their intros in if they want to. I think
Go ahead, you
Brian's
can
on.
shoot. Oh,
Right.
before that though, I want to mention Arco's having a drag race. Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
So it's
he
Oh,
did a
that's
video.
his annual party thing.
no, this is
No.
a separate thing he's having.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
Where's he been,
different.
by the way? We haven't seen him in a while.
He's kind of
He's
stuck up
been-
these days.
Yeah.
That's what I tell him all the time. I'm like, dude, you're not a car guy anymore. You must do septic tanks or something because you never come around. But actually, what it is, he's swamped with customer stuff, and he just don't have time to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Outlaw Throwdown. It is drag racing, no prep. And
That's
it is
in-
on June 9th at 11 a.m. Big
Big Fork.
Fort Airport.
June 9th is a week from Sunday.
Yeah, so it's Big Fort, Minnesota.
Yep. I won't be gone. Fork it.
Yeah. $10 admission, cash only.
Now that you never hear a $10 admission.
Yeah. $10. Well, your drag race. I think that's part of your.
Still,
Sure.
yeah, $10. Damn, that's
Fee.
yeah.
Yeah. Then by the time you buy apparel and food and everything else,
They charge you $20, $25 to enter your car in a car show.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Oh wait,
every-
no. It's $100 entry fee.
Ah.
That's the racing part. So
$10 Arco's fee.
yeah, Arco, yeah.
that's his
or
pocket
Heidi.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go check him out if you're in Minnesota on the 9th. I'm sure it's going to be some shenanigans going on.
So is he putting the event on, or is he
Yeah.
just wow? I mean, that's a lot of work. It really is.
Yeah, Outlaw Throwdown.
Yeah, him and Heidi are hosting it with the Outlaw Edge channel, and it's going to be pretty cool. So I hope they get good signal there to get some live streaming going on
Yeah.
during the races. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Here in Ashtabula, every Sunday through the summer months, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Lakeshore Park in Ashtabula, down by Lake Erie, they have a car show. That's free to enter. You don't have to pay nothing. Basically, it's just like hanging out in a parking lot, but it's in a big grassy area, and you just park and everybody just walks around, checks your car out. And they usually have a rib cook-off or something going on, and then June 8th we have the Strawberry Festival coming up in Jefferson, Ohio. I believe it's June 10th is when the car show will be, but the festival starts on the 8th. And then June 8th again, over a couple counties over in Paynesville, they're having the second annual Breaking the Stigma car show. Then June 29th, the Convoy Tire 11th annual car show, which will be in Paynesville, Ohio.
Back up one show, Joey. What is the Breaking the Stigma car show refer to? What are they getting at there?
Well, it says in the memo of it, it says this is our second annual charity car show raising awareness for mental illness and suicide prevention.
Okay.
So that's what that is, breaking
All right,
the stigma. And then the Convoy one in the memo, it says Convoy Tire presents Convoy Tire 11th annual car show hosted by the Rossi family, 35 plus awards, multiple food vendors. They have vendors you can go to, and then carts that they roll around with food and whatever. But and then the concessions is Brandon from All About You Entertainment. Then July 17th at the Elk Lodge in Ashtabula, Ohio, they will have their once a year annual car show. They have I know where that one is. It's actually right on Main Street. It says, come open your hoods and show us your goods. 50/50 Best in Show Award, raffle music, and food with the view of Lake Erie. So, yeah.
All right. Truthfully, I'd want to hang out at Lake Superior and see if I could find the boat there. I always forget the name of. I always go up to Downeaster Alexa. Jim, you just did a parade with your car, right?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Very well. Turnout wasn't that great, but we did good. The rain held off just long enough that we got everything in without issues.
Good.
I got to show my car off with the flag on.
Nice.
That's fun.
Well, it's always good having a wagon because now they can throw all the stuff, like all the flags, in the back of your car. Like, open that gate, man. I've had that happen to me.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
All
Throw
right.
your chairs in there and everything.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's why I got the
Yeah.
wagon. The wagon.
Yeah.
Throw everything
Yeah.
in the back and go wherever I want.
And then you guys were talking about young kids, girls and boys, under age 15 getting into the car community. You remember Honest Peyton's Speed Shop?
Sure.
Dad Chad and then his daughter Peyton. I was actually just on the phone with them a couple hours before the show tonight, and yeah, she does really well and loves that channel, so
Yeah.
she's into it.
Now, Brian, I know you're waiting to see what's going to happen. I don't know if I know you're waiting to see what's going to happen with that big show by you. They threatened to shut it down and close the doors. And when you see something that big that's been there for so long, you say, how do they do that? So, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that one.
He's
You
on
got
mute.
to turn your mic on though if you want us to hear you. There you go.
Supposedly, kind of sitting back and waiting to see. They're supposed to pass June 1st. They threw in drag racing, speed contests, car rallies, and car meets of being illegal. Can't have any kind of function going on.
Where do they think they are? New York?
Well,
You think it's New York City?
I mean,
Come on. You guys can't be worse. Nobody can be worse than here. You can't. They can't do
California.
that. Yeah.
dude, I'm telling you, they unfortunately, I don't know how else to say it other than this sound this way, or this is the way they make it. They hate anything to do with the car. They're so, I don't know what they think about. They don't want anybody fixing them. They don't want anybody working them. They don't want anybody parking them. They don't want anybody to have one out in front of the house. They don't want anything. It's absolutely amazing that the pain and suffering that you go through, but it's just like I said. They even have made it sound, or the way you read it, even if I'm standing there just looking at cars, and if I don't leave, I can be ticketed or fined, or I can have things against me. There's signs popping up, about noise, mufflers on your car, noise. I did find it very, very interesting today. I don't know how much to really go into this because I don't know a lot about it, but I noticed on one of my customers' car, he had Virginia tags. And as a guy that loans out money to people like that, I said, "Oh, you moved," because I wanted to update. And he goes, No, I still live in the same place. And I said, "Well, why do you have Virginia tags? how can you have Virginia tags and live in Maryland? Because, you can't do that. Or, if you move, you're supposed to switch over to the tags. And he says, oh, yeah, that's what people are doing now, because in Virginia, you don't have to have emissions. You don't have to have inspection. You don't have to have this. You don't have to have that.
Yep.
And you can still live in Maryland. And I just, you go through all that. And then on the one hand, they ask what happens to the revenue, right? And then they go after somebody for having
Well,
a hot rod. I
was going to say, have you been to Brooklyn lately? Because we see more tags up here from Georgia and Tennessee. A lot of states of Florida, a lot of southern states. Guys, they've been doing that for years. They got an address down there. That's where they register the cars.
But usually you had to have. I mean, I asked him. I said, "So, what? You got a PO box in Virginia or something? Because you got to usually have an address or something."
Yes, right.
And of course, right on his new registration, it has his Maryland address.
Wow.
And I don't know.
That's odd. Yeah, that's odd.
Like I said, I just don't understand how. The only way that I can kind of maybe make you understand, it's like back in the day when I worked at the dealership, okay, and we had a control arm, rebuilding a control arm, and you'd put new bushings in and do alignment. So you got like 2.5 hours for doing the control arms. It was like, of course, this was over 20 some years ago. And I think it was something like, $30 for bushings, 2.5 hours labor. And then you got another 1.5 hours for doing an alignment. And so, you had, 4 hours labor for the shop. And then one day, all of a sudden, they come to you and say, hey, you got to put a control arm on it. We're not rebuilding control arms anymore. You got to put the control arm on it, because the control arm was $500, but it only paid 8/10.
Yeah.
And then they changed our adjustment, our alignment to 1.2. So you only had 2 hours. So then they turn around and then when you go into your review meeting, well, you're not producing.
Right,
your
right.
hours are down. And I said, well, you cut the hours. I don't understand why. Now it's my fault. You cut the hours, and it's my fault. So this is like the places in Maryland. They have big businesses. They tax the hell out of everybody, beat them up, put all these stipulations, and they get upset when they move, and they say, "Oh, it's your fault that we don't have any revenue."
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll have to wait and see. But I'm really kind of curious what's going to happen with this, and if they're going to roll through and tell us that we can't meet anymore.
That happened here
we have
too.
a lot of meets.
That happened here too. They wanted, tax the, the upper percentile, the upper 2-3%, and a lot of them just up and left. Said, yeah, take your tax and stick it up your ass. I'm going down to Florida. We're going to, a tax-friendly state. Gonna go to Florida. Gonna go to Tennessee. Screw you.
You can live in any state and get Maryland plates too. A lot of the bus guys are doing the Maryland. Not Maryland.
I don't know why anybody would want anything to do with it.
No, I'm sorry, not Maryland. Vermont.
Vermont. Yeah, Vermont's been that way for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, Vermont.
Like some 10-year thing or whatever. Like a lot of trailers have that, or Maine or whatever.
It's a good way. It's a good way to wash a title. They wash it through Vermont. They used to be able to do it through Arkansas many years ago, but
yeah, I did it through Vermont. I did an application and sent them a check with it and the VIN number and everything. And I don't know, it was like 3 weeks later, I got a license plate and a Vermont title for that vehicle. It hadn't been tagged or registered in over 7 years in Ohio, and no one knew how to get the title. Ohio is like gridlock on getting a title for you like that. So you got to go to Vermont. Once you get the Vermont one, then you can take the car, have it inspected, and transfer it to Ohio.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But it's worth $75. You save a car from being parted out.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't know. I just find it absolutely asinine on some of this stuff and what the shops have to go through and just killing it.
Killing the
It's
industry.
crazy.
So now we're talking
Right.
about this. It's a good time to start going to SEMA.com because SEMA is a strong component, or I said a
Proponent.
proponent for the
Yeah.
car industry, and they're going and lobbying in Washington over all this stuff. So
Yeah.
you can find a lot of information on what's going on through SEMA.com.
Yeah, that one girl, what's her name? She was just down there a couple of weeks ago. I don't
Called the
remember.
SEMA Action Network.
Yeah,
Seam
there you go.
sand, yeah.
That's
Was
the
that Emily and what's her name?
No, it
That
wasn't Emily.
flying.
Flying Sparks Garage.
Yeah,
Emily,
That's not the one I was thinking of, but it's another one. She was on that. She was on that show a bunch of times with. I can't even think of that guy's name now. Jesus, there's so many car guys on TV. It's hard to keep up with all the names.
Heather Storm.
No, not Heather.
Bogey.
No, wasn't Bogey.
Heather's living in like some island somewhere.
Yeah, she's Costa Rica, man. She's gone. She's checked out, man.
Yeah.
She pops in every once in a while. She got a place in Cali too, I think.
She took her Mustang and left.
I think she finally got her Mustang down there.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
I got some
She ain't
friends
coming
over
back.
there, but they said they ain't coming back. They left Hawaii and went to Costa Rica.
Wow.
Yeah. They said we're tired of paying $11 a gallon for milk.
Right.
So, oh man, now it's eating me alive. What is that guy's name?
What was she on? Like, what was the show?
Alex Taylor.
Alex Taylor.
I don't know who Alex Taylor is.
That's who it was. She went there. She's actually getting to be a big name in the car community. I've been watching her back before she was a big name. She loves drag racing and working in her dad's
Oh.
shop. Yeah.
Uh-oh, what happened to everybody?
Is she the one that's working with
You're half freezing up, Brian.
Yeah.
is she the one that's working with what's his name? The guy that was doing the
You're like me. What's his name?
yeah, that guy with the beard.
Yeah. He says his name at the beginning of every one of his videos.
I know. It was him and another guy
Yeah.
that were doing it, and then they split up, and now he's working with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell's his name?
I know. You're like me.
Yeah. It's getting worse lately.
Yeah.
Well, that's
all
okay.
it's all the fumes that they are supposedly getting rid of.
I keep making new friends every day,
Yeah.
even if I knew you for 25 years.
What happened? We all got kicked off.
No, just you.
Just
No,
you.
it's just you.
I don't
You
know.
see, Lewis, there's some bugs in the machine here. Last week we saw a little bit of it, and I think we'll be seeing
AI.
more of it.
I don't know. I guess I need to talk nice.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
See, what was that guy's name? Was it Skippy, Muggsy, Bugsy?
No,
Bruxy?
Keith is telling me it was that lucky
Lucky
guy.
Lucky.
Well, lucky.
And that Alex,
Yes.
Yeah.
Alex
Yeah.
Taylor. That's what he said.
That's who it is.
Now I know who he's talking about. I didn't know who Alex Taylor was, but I know
Yeah.
who Lucky is.
He's right. She's Alex Taylor. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, can one of the admins kick that one person out of the chat? They're being very disrespectful. That name Outlaw Edge. He told me to shut up.
Uh-oh. What's up, Outlaw Edge? We were just talking about your car show or your drag race.
Yeah, where all your electric cars are going to be racing.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
So, Chris, you can come in on the screen anytime.
Yeah, somebody had asked where you been, and Lewis said you've been being a lazy bum and stuck up.
No, I just say he's been stuck up.
Oh, sorry, I added that in there quietly, I guess. Hey, Robin.
So I started. My daughter told me about this show. I started watching it on Netflix called Tires. Maybe that's the one where they said they were in Youngstown, possibly, because it's the only new thing I've started watching. It's about this tire shop and the shenanigans and the goings on, and it's kind of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm, Seinfeld, kind of little dopey, goofy, but it's made to make you laugh. It's not made to make you think. It's entertainment. So kind of, I laughed a couple times. So if you got nothing to do, look up Tires on Netflix. It's
Tires, and it was based about Youngstown.
Like I said, just within the last few days, I watched something that said it was set in Youngstown, and the only movie I watched was Unfrosted. I watched that today with my wife, and the only other thing I did new was I started watching that. I watched 3 episodes of the show Tires on Netflix. So maybe it was there. I don't know.
I had to check it out.
It's dopey, it's goofy. I'm not saying it's not intellectual, but like they had the one old guy in the shop, and just stupid things like they had to move personnel, and they want to move him, and the kid who's the boss of this one. There's a couple of tire stores, so this was the newer one, and his father put him in place, but no one gives him any respect, and he says, "But my dad owns the place." Screw you. Who cares? So he tells this guy, "Listen, we got to move you over to the other location." He's like, "No, I'm not going. Screw you." He's like, "Well, look, we got to move you. You're the slowest guy. You produce the least. We got to move you over." And he goes, "I was working in this place when you were in first grade, kid." He goes, "So I ain't moving." Well, that guy ends up dying under a car.
Oh no!
Well, not because it fell on him. He just they went to get him, and he was so stupid shit like that. It's just. I laughed at a couple of things. I really did. There was a few things I found extremely hysterical. So, if you got nothing better to do,
what's up, Danny? What's up, Isaac?
Close your eyes. Don't blink your eyes. It's a full screen.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's cool.
You were asking about a boat in Lake Superior?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I was.
Was it the Edmund Fitzgerald?
That's the one. The Edmund Fitzgerald. Thank you.
Good God.
I didn't say it was a little boat. It was a giant boat.
It was.
It was a ship. Yes, that's the one. I love the song. I remember working in the auto parts store. This was like 75 when that song came out, and it was kind of that eerie overtone. The record, the Edmund Fitzgerald, and a lot of people hated it, like they hated MacArthur Park. But for some reason, I was drawn to that song, and I always loved it, and I still love it today. And then I actually did. What's that?
I said it's on my playlist.
Yeah, I did do the research one year and looked into the whole backstory and what I mean. That accident could have been avoided, on top of everything. But and every year they do a tribute out there on the lake to the people who were lost. It was like hundreds of guys lost their lives. So yeah, thank you.
That
29
sailors, that maritime cathedral that they talked about in the song is like a block away from Cobo Hall, where we have Autorama every year.
Okay.
Like walk by it all the time.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, Big Charlie says it was loaded with 26,000 tons of ore.
Iron ore. Yeah. Iron ore.
29 people.
Iron ore. What? Yeah.
Wasn't that the one, the storm that took it out or something?
Yeah. And I tell you, just the way the song was written, it was written so well and descriptive. It was like read the Stephen King novel. I mean, it puts you in that situation, like, hey, sorry fellas, it's too rough to feed you. It's like, we ain't eating tonight.
Yeah.
There's a couple different museums up. There's a shipwreck museum up on Superior that I've been to a few times, and they've actually got the bell from the ship.
Oh wow.
That they recovered.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing they can get the bell, but why not the ship?
Yeah, it's too big. Yeah, it would just break into pieces, I guess. And you don't really, that's the one thing I learned, like on a lake, you could have, I mean, Lake Superior is huge. I've never seen it in person. I've flown over it, but to have weather like that on a lake, you think of like, an ocean, but crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
if we go another 10 or 15 years, because we won't go electric, it'll dry up like the one out in Vegas, right? And all the history will be seen
From
from.
Lake Mead, yeah.
Yeah,
All the cars will start popping up, yeah.
So don't worry, we'll eventually get to see it. So
Well, we might not.
On Lake Mead, a lot of times where they show the pictures where it's filled to the top, that's in 83, and on those pictures the year is tagged from 83, and that's when we had the massive floods down here. So there was a tropical storm. It was late summer, early fall, like September, October, I believe. I might be wrong on my dates. I was only about, what was that, 83? So I was what, 5, 4, somewhere around there. But anyways,
Thanks. Made me feel better.
anyways,
I'll shut up.
there was a tropical storm that came up through the Gulf of California, and it stalled out over the state, and it flooded. If you Google it, it flooded Tucson. I don't know how bad it got Phoenix, but it washed away a lot of property here. It put a lot under. We were in a state of emergency, but when they show those pictures, that's from that storm that filled up that lake.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not saying we don't have drought conditions. We do, but
they just took the positive. But I'm not saying anything negative anymore because I don't want to be bumped off. So
Right.
I'm all for electricity, hug a tree, lick a leaf, whatever, dude. Just, carry an extension cord. All
What
right.
kind of leaves are you licking?
I don't know, but it's
not
kind of
for
like
any of
licking
that.
the tree frog. You get a funny feeling afterwards.
Yeah.
You're okay. Don't worry, man.
Well,
I'm all good.
Just trying to get those black SUVs to pull away from the driveway.
That's it.
I think there's one out front. Last over the weekend when I was on Motormouth Radio, I had difficulties, and the black SUV was out front for a while. So I'm all for government improvement of our country. I'm there.
Yes, sir.
hey,
Go.
enjoy your resources. Take a dip in the lake. Make sure you take your extension cord with you when you jump in. We got to stay positive. Electricity.
Yeah, make sure
I'm
it's
ready.
plugged in somewhere before you jump in the water.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I just run out of that 50 feet real quick. So yeah, we're good. Don't worry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whew, I got a lot off there. Okay, I'm still.
Do you feel better now?
I'm starting to. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm still a little lightheaded, but I'm all right. Don't worry.
Yeah, he's on a mission, sounds like, over there, Brian.
No, that's what happens when you drive around all day in a truck by yourself, and everybody runs and hides from you. So
Hide and seek.
don't get to talk to anybody. Got a lot on my mind.
So we got something going on here in this, town park by me. They erected a stadium to hold this cricket tournament, right?
Cricket.
And international cricket tournament.
Oh, I heard about that.
Is the
And
cricket World Cup?
they already got threats. They already got terroristic threats from somewhere in Europe, and it's going to be interesting to see. So the one day there's it's going to be from the 1st to the 12th, and the biggest day is going to be the 9th because that's when India plays Pakistan. Apparently, those are the two.
Oh
top
yeah.
two.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it ends up the radio station is literally right on the other side of the property kind of. So I might have to parachute in. It's a Sunday. That's the 9th. It's going to be 2 Sundays from now.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
curious to see how that's going to. They said they made a no-fly zone out of the area. I mean, they're really going nuts.
Wow.
I drove through there today and looked at it. It's crazy to see something so big where there was nothing.
You
And they're
might
taking
have
it all
to
down.
armor up the FJ and get it ready.
I know.
Survival pack. Did you see? I think I saw where you liked the FJ that went through the mud with the 44s.
Yeah.
Holy smokes! I don't even know how they were able to turn that thing over.
I don't know. Just some crazy stuff. Crazy.
I want to
now
give
you see if you're on Threads, you'll see. I know I'm on Threads. I found out that when I make a post, I can automatically send it to Threads. So I'm like, yeah, do it. What the hell? I don't care. So if you bought it that way, you'll know why.
I want to give a shout out to my friend Big Charlie's Model Garage in the chat. He just had brain surgery about a week ago, and it was pretty extensive. And man, I tell you, me and Bill Cameron and a bunch of us have really held him up in prayer. This dude is at home now and in the chat. It's amazing.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks for coming.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. It's awesome he's in the chat. Not awesome he had to go through that.
Well, right.
Yeah. Well, and that was a result of a semi truck accident.
Mm.
He was a truck driver and he had an accident and it did something to his brain. It caused a cyst or something to form on his brain. And it got to where he was on a loop. He was like 10-second Tom from 51st Dates
Mm.
for a long time. And, you'd start a conversation, 10 seconds later, he'd start it over again. So, but not now. He's back to being normal.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah. I was hoping that he was around when Arco was around so I could say, hey, Big Charlie, he's gay and don't trust him. 10 seconds later, he'd forget. So.
Oh, man.
But
I had a situation back in 2011 where my heart went out of whack and they had to stop it 4 times and then it was off rhythm and they told me they wanted to shock it and I said no. And about a day later, once they got the heart rate down, about a day later, they came to me about shocking it again and I said, you need to knock me out. I don't want to feel it. Well, the stuff they gave me, I guess it's propofol, I think.
Propofol.
It's the stuff that Michael Jackson died on, which the
That's
the doctor of the wing comes in and he goes, I hear you're going in for this procedure. They're going to shock you and get you right. And I said, yeah. And he goes, yeah, they're going to give you the stuff Michael Jackson died on. And I'm like, where's the bedside manner? Like, that's not what I want to hear.
yeah.
But anyways, I guess it's an
Allegedly. A legend. We don't know.
Yeah,
the fact.
allegedly.
Yeah.
But I guess it's an amnesiatic. So for that first weekend, because we were doing football camp or speed camp, and that first weekend that happened on a Thursday, they let me out Friday evening, I think, or maybe it was Saturday. Anyways, I was at football camp that weekend, and they were asking what happened, and I was 10-second Tom. I was telling them the story and everything. I was at work and everything that happened, and I went in the ambulance, and 10 seconds later, I'm telling the story. Hey, did you hear? So what happened was, so yeah, that was a little irritating.
Yeah, I had to have it done too. Scary.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, not fun. Well, the worst thing is I get in the ambulance. Well, they put me in it, and they're walking me through. We're gonna do this thing, and we're gonna inject you with this stuff. And I said, okay. And they said, and it's gonna stop your heart. And I lean up and I go, you animals, you're supposed to be saving me, not killing me.
Right.
And, they're telling me, you're going to feel this. And as soon as you feel it, let us know. And then you need to focus. They had 2 guys back there with me and they said, you need to focus on him. He's going to get you, focused on your breathing. Your heart will kick back on. And I said, you know what? I said, before we do this, can I have a minute? And they said, yeah, what's up? And I said, I'd like to talk to God for a moment. I said, because I'm not ready to go and meet him today. So I want to have a conversation with him and make sure we're on the same page.
I was just going to say that. Mike said, "Oh, don't worry, Isaac. You may be speaking to him in a few minutes anyway. So
Yeah.
talk to him in person."
Yeah, that was my concern. I was like,
Right.
not today.
Good concern.
Terrible.
Or you could have just woken up and been in a different state and a new name. So
Right,
it's
right.
all the same. So don't worry.
And
Yeah.
it could have been a girl named Jane.
That's right.
Well, I will tell you this. They stopped it twice in the ambulance, and then they stopped it twice in the ER. That fourth time, I literally was starting to sit up out of my body. Like
Wow.
I was laying there. So they're telling you to breathe. You're focused on the one person, and you're breathing almost like the pregnancy breaths that they tell the women to do. You're breathing, 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 and all of a sudden I start sitting forward and sitting up, and I look up, I look around, and then all of a sudden my heart kicks on, and I slap back into my body. I mean, I didn't fully come apart, but I slapped back down, and I said, "Hey doc, can we stop doing this? It's not working." And that time I was sitting up, and my body wasn't sitting up with me. And I said, and that one hurt. I said that one didn't feel right. It hurt. And the only way I can explain it when I say it hurt, it didn't physically hurt like a sharp pain. It felt like Velcro, like I was peeling apart like Velcro. And
Wow.
it just did not feel okay. And I was like, let's stop this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely an experience I'll never forget.
Yeah, that's scary. Well, glad you made it.
Oh, I am too.
I just realized something, just as a total off subject, but I just realized something. Looking at this motley group of attractive gentlemen on the screen, you know, I guess we change with the seasons, but how come Joey's still wearing a freaking heavy sweatshirt with a hoodie?
It's cold here in Ohio.
Yeah, it's been cold the last few nights.
Yeah, the
Wow.
temperature dropped down to it's 55 right now.
Yeah, it's 65 in the shop, but I got the door wide open.
Yeah,
And
we're 63 outside.
so, yeah,
It's
it's,
supposed to be
Ain't
like
too bad here.
I think it
55
got down to what?
down here tonight.
Justin, dude,
45,
you're
I
getting
think,
sunburned.
tonight.
Yeah, this is last week before I spent all weekend outside. 3 days, 7 a.m. to midnight.
Wow.
Mm.
I got burned.
Yeah.
Must have been that moon burn.
We get all of it.
Yeah. Good.
That
Wow.
time of year.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not sweatshirt weather here. We had 100 degrees again. For
Wow.
they said, so I think at my house it was 100 degrees throughout the day, but they said at 5 o'clock it hit 100 degrees for 60 seconds, and the guys all excited again, and then talking about, you know, on this week's forecast on the 7-day, it's going to get hotter.
Oh,
We have one weather guy like that on Channel 9 here, Topper. This guy literally, you know, he's like a puppy. So excited, he's probably peeing all over the place. You know, there's a thunderstorm coming, and he just goes on and on and on, or the snowstorm, and he's been, you know, the main on that channel. He's been the main guy for, I guess, 30 years or whatever, and it's almost comical to listen to him because he is just over the edge about how disastrous he could be. I've never seen a guy so happy talk about how, you know, a tornado is coming through or a warning or whatever.
that's what he went to school for.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah.
Yeah. Lewis, I knew there was something I was needing to tell you.
Yes.
So yesterday, on the 28th, my daughter went into unexpected labor 4 weeks early. And so we've been trading out and back and forth, me and the mother taking care of her and the baby helping out. I'm probably not going to get to come down there Saturday like I'd planned on. Because of that.
Well, what I was thinking, I'll do a video and do some measurements, and I'll even maybe do a CAD
Yeah,
drawing of it.
that would work. Yeah, if
And
you
send
could
it
get
to you.
that done and over to me, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Get that fabricated up and you can come pick it up or something.
So speaking of fabrication, something I was talking to Brian about yesterday. I was looking at my 55 Chevy out there the other day and saying, you know what? This car isn't going to get done the way I want it to get done. Just ain't going to happen. So I said, okay, what are my choices? And the first one was like, so do it the way it is, as ratty as it is. And you can use a stop sign for a floor pan if you have to. So that because I have the engine and the tranny and the rear, and I'm gonna go for it. I got a guy up the corner. He's got a roller cam for a big block that I'm gonna buy off him. Put a tunnel ram on it. I'm gonna try and get the sniper off my buddy that bought the one where I got my 2. There was another one and he took it. Let me see if I can buy that for him because I don't think he's gonna use it. But I got to figure out steering and suspension and brakes. And I was talking with Brian. I have some spindles off a Colonnade, 73 and up GM, but they use the larger ball joints and tie rod ends. So I got to see if I got to find a way, if it's possible, to adapt that stuff because I'd like to use the stuff I already have, and I'm going to do this thing kind of on the cheap.
Ray, after I got off the phone with you and talking, what you need, because anything is adaptable after you buy a welder.
And you can make it look good with an angle grinder.
Well, that's true.
So, I mean, a welder, you can make anything fit.
That's true. That's not out of the question. Not out of the question.
And maybe only one time put together and just hope the part doesn't wear out. I would use something old instead of something newer because, everything new is kind of crappy right now.
Yeah. So, I was talking to my buddy up the drive shaft place, and he was saying, we're talking about steering. And I said, I got to get that steering box out because the box and the column is one piece. He goes, well, what do you got? Why? I was like, because it's a crappy box. So he says, we'll change the box, cut the column, put a Borgenson joint in with a stub shaft, and there you go, adapt it to the box. Like, ooh, that sounds brilliant. All right, I can do that.
As long as it doesn't turn out as crappy as those cars that Kiwi finds. I don't know how in the world that last video that you sent me, dude. Yeah. Everything on that car, I cannot believe anybody sold that car, but not to change it. But that's the only problem. That's what he's talking about with those guys putting those racks in those Mustangs. They get that angle wrong. That's
exactly. That was a perfect example of that. And he didn't use the right oil pan, so the engine sat up, and that's why everything had that tolerance stack up. But because of one thing, something else had to change, and it even went down to the cosmetics with that hood scoop, and it was done for a reason because the engine was sitting way too high, and they needed a giant hood scoop. So, yeah. So,
but even the one prior, when the guy was talking about the vibration or the lock in the steering wheel, that's the same thing that you would have to do when you cut. You just got to make sure that you're not at a harsh angle or a funny angle.
Well, yeah, in this case it wouldn't be because it is a nice mild. Now, my buddy was telling me that with the 55, if I was going to use the big block with under chassis headers, there's a box fitment issue, and cylinder number 3 becomes like the tube becomes like half a tube. I hate doing that. And it was funny because he gave me a set of headers years ago. He goes, I said, I really want to use fender wells. He goes, I gave you a set of fender wells. I was like, no, you didn't. They were under chassis headers. He goes, no, I bought fender wells and I gave you a set of fender. So I actually climbed up into my loft yesterday before I called you, Brian. I pulled one of them out. And believe it or not, like if you hold it one way, it kind of looks like it under the chassis header. But if you turn it around the other way, it becomes a fender well. So I got the fender wells.
So. You should technically get them, just mount them backwards so they come up out of the hood. That's what you want.
There you go.
Big zoomies.
Along with the tunnel ram and the headers coming straight out of the top. Just have everything come right out of the top. Don't worry about anything else.
I'll tell you the truth. You can run a tunnel ram under the hood of a 55 Chevy. It fits.
Still have room to close the hood, right?
It's under the hood. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That's yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I'd like to find some fenders. I'm going to be meeting with the Mustang guy this week. He wants to do some filming, I think, on Saturday. So I'm going to ask him about fenders for your car. And watch, he'll probably say, yeah, I've always wanted a set of Hypo 289 heads.
Yeah. Well, I got a set of, I got stuff to trade, but hopefully the other dude comes around.
That'd be nice.
Does anybody have any headers for a Chevy pickup?
No, but they should be, again, that should be pretty easy to get.
What'd you say?
What
Oh,
kind
for
of
your
shit is it?
1500? Yeah.
Headers for my my 06 Chevy.
Oh, the LS. That's a
LS
LS. Yeah, no. Marketplace usually is where you find stuff like that.
I haven't looked. I was just you guys were talking about them, so I figured I'd throw that out there.
Yeah.
What's it having? Is it a 5.3 in that thing?
Yeah.
Those are nice compact headers on those LSs. So I wonder how much variation is there between engines or body styles, and I wonder.
I have no clue. I'm a customizer, not a motor guy.
Right.
I have no clue.
You probably have more leeway because you're in a truck chassis. You could use something that was made for like different cars and make it fit because you have more room than a car has.
Mhm.
I would think.
Yeah.
A little duct tape and a butter knife. We can get it to fit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably make a header for that. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Oh,
think
yeah,
Chip-
but yeah.
I have a news announcement. Arco is in chat trying to convince me that Heidi hates me, and I'm like, no, she loves me because I'm the only one that gets under your skin. So yeah.
You know what? Why are Arco and Heidi not on the screen? That's the question.
Yeah.
Probably working while they were in chat a minute ago.
Yeah.
So, and Brian, the answer to your other statement about a welder is, as you're doing all your cleaning up, you unearth one, and I'll pick it up.
On Earth.
Because when I
Yeah,
use a
before
good
you
welder, I immediately become 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
Before you stick it on that scrap truck.
I got
No, actually, I've got
Get that one from Timu. That looks like a little handle.
that thing.
It's this
A little
big.
gun.
I probably have one here, Ray, if you need one. I got a
you do.
couple. I got that one. I mean, I had that older Snap-on one that I've had forever, and I bought another new one 2 years ago, I guess it was, to supposedly retire the Snap-on one, and I still find myself using.
There we go.
There we
You
go,
go,
right
Ray.
there.
That's
Stick
small.
welder.
Yeah,
That's
Oh, yeah. Nice.
we were still supposed to talk to those the who's that Arco got that welder from? Yes welders.
Yes, welder.
My buddy bought one of them and really likes it. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked pretty nice. Arco brought his here.
I think Saturday when I go down to the shop, I'll bring the Fiat with me, and because I got to weld in the upper shock pulled out.
Still
of,
haven't done that?
No,
Oh my goodness.
drive with
That's
3
been a
shock.
while.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's only been 2 years.
3
But,
welders.
I got to weld that. And I collected a couple of big washers so I can find something that I can weld in and then put that shock back in. Yeah, I got to do that.
Yeah. I have all.
I'll do it there
yeah.
because they have one of the welders at the shop. They have that Matco welder, which I don't know if anybody's using that. I don't know who's using what there anymore. But they have a Miller that as soon as I strike that thing, I get good.
Yeah.
It's just
Millermatic.
it's effortless. Yeah, it's just such a nice welder.
That's a great
That was the one
welder.
I told you. One of the body guys years ago was he was just doing some tack welding on a quarter panel, and all of a sudden like it was burning. And he was like, the welder's bad. Welder's bad. I'm like, what do you mean welder's bad? Burning. I said, well, what do you have it set at? Oh, I don't know. He goes, and this is all in broken Ecuadorian English. He was blaming the other guy for using the welder who probably changed something. So I said, well, look, I said, you know how you do this? I opened the side door and I said, let's look what our wire size is. Let's look at our metal gauge. I said, let's do this and let's set this where it says to set it. I said, try that now. And he was like, he looked at me like, oh, you fixed it. I was like, dude, all you gotta do is read, like, just pictorially, I could show a kid could do this.
You're asking him to read from Ecuadorian to English.
But it was pictorial too. You didn't even have to read anything.
I have all Yes Welder products now.
Sweet.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, out of that stuff that you have, you don't happen to have a 911 front suspension set up, do you?
I got pieces and parts, but I don't have a whole suspension.
Like, I guess supposedly you could swap it over on a 914 for a 5-lug conversion or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything complete or enough. I got
You got to buy
a
the
handful of
expensive
pieces.
wheels.
Yeah. Actually, I need to go and dig through my wheel pile and see what I have for you, Isaac, because I
was going to send you a picture of what I was looking for.
Yeah, I got, like I said, I've been, well, actually, I guess, I didn't even tell you, Ray, what day was that? Saturday? Saturday, we finished up and we were cleaning up, and of course, like I said, the backyard no longer looks like a bomb that had gone off because everything's clean up, everything's in the dumpster, and it's now like a working scrap yard. I've got my piles of places. I've got this. I'm telling everybody this goes over there. We're keeping this, chuck this. I got all that stuff going. We had endless amounts of power tools going because I got the saws going, cutting the wood up so everybody can handle it. The whole 9 yards, and the running joke was who was the first person that was going to get the tetanus shot, because they're getting the nail stuck in them, So to make a long story short, we get all done, and I had told my mom to come by Saturday, and we'll grill up some hamburgers and hot dogs and whole 9 yards. So I'm running a little behind, in a hurry. I run into the kitchen. I grab a big fat tomato, and I grab the mandolin to slice it. And the tomato rolls off and slice a third of my thumb off. And I'm the one that got the shot and 9 stitches.
Nice.
So that kind of put a hold on Sunday, and everything is slowly getting around because now my thumb is feeling better now.
Wow.
But I took a big chunk out, and
So you won the bet.
I won the bet. Yeah. I mean, I had to go get the shot.
Gotta get
It wasn't
yourself.
because of the shed
What'd you
or
win?
the
Stitches.
rusted nails and stitches. So that was my weekend.
Congrats.
On my Memorial Day. So I figured that, unlike Joey, unfortunately, I'm sorry, but I'm 57 and I still have all my body parts. So,
all right.
Yeah, well, hey, at least I ain't crying over my thumb, okay?
Yeah, well, the only problem is it's too bad it wasn't my left because being right-handed, it's really a pain in the ass to try to tie your shoes. I had to wear my old man shoes with no shoelaces the other day, and everybody laughed at me when I was on the route.
So how did you cut your right thumb? That means you were using a mandolin with your left hand?
I was holding it, and I had the tomato in my right hand, and as soon as I put it down, the tomato rolled under, and my thumb went first.
No, I got that part. It's just I'm kind of a student of, because I'm like this too. I'm righty, but I do certain things lefty by nature. Like when I solder or weld, I do it like a left-hander. It's just what feels better to me. So I'm thinking, like, if I had a tomato, I would put the tomato with my left hand and use the mandolin with my right hand, but you did it the opposite way.
Yeah, well, our little it's I don't know what it's called, but it's not, like I said, it's not a traditional like one that stands up. It's in a plastic box. You know what I'm saying? That sits down on the counter. Yeah. And like I said, I normally just use a knife. I don't even. I thought this would be so much quicker, just going shoop, 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 and it was quicker, but unfortunately,
my son did the same thing.
Yeah, it really pissed me off. So we spent 2.5 hours in the emergency room.
Great.
And
last time.
Huh?
You made your mother go hungry.
Yep. Yeah, well, she,
no hamburgers, no tomatoes.
So we had to do that we did that on Sunday instead, which, was no problem. But, again, so the activities in the yard kind of was a little off.
Well, I will say, for the fellas, I had Brian and Carl Anthony on Sunday,
Mhm.
and we were talking about EV topics. Brian had a couple, Carl had a couple because he was at a conference, and I had a couple little pieces. So the show went over so well. I mean, people were emailing me and texting me how much they liked it, Jim being one of them. And the YouTube video is people are watching it. So it's, I mean, I hate the damn topic, but I like, if you can find some interesting stuff to report on,
Right.
I don't mind it so much. But it went over well. The show went very well. So,
Well,
Yeah,
Brian,
I only heard the last half, but the amount of information just in that last half was incredible.
well, Carl gets the real industry stuff because he goes to the industry conferences there in Detroit. And Brian pulls out some super secret White House documents that he found that weren't declassified yet. And we didn't ask him how he got them. So that's why he had the Suburban out in front of his house. They
Yeah.
wanted their paperback.
got those from JB's
Brian's
garage.
losing signal all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Am I
He
fading?
He started
Am I
freezing
fading
up.
out?
He did.
You probably got those out of the trunk of JB's Corvette.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything because I love the government and I love everything about it. And I'm a tree hugger and I just got done licking a leaf. So
Right,
just
right.
please.
And you survived a near-death experience with
Yeah,
your
I
son.
think that was a
The
CIA
mandolin, yeah.
setup. The
Now,
mandolin to take
now
a
we
finger.
now we know what
Well,
happened to the
welcome
thumb.
to
The real
Yeah.
story.
Welcome to the near-death family. Okay.
So, Brian, speaking of that, we'll change the subject real fast. I got an email from Matco asking me to take this survey about tool storage. I said, okay. I don't have any Matco tool storage, so I'll tell them what I know. And and it was all basic stuff. How long you been in the business? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And they asked about what they wanted you to rate the common tool storage, like what you felt about them, like Matco, Snap-on, Mac, Cornwell. What else was in there? There was something else in there. And it was all like 5-part questions. What do you think about fit, finish, color, this, that, the other thing? And it kept going on and on. And it had a comment section. They were talking about price and then comments. And I actually dropped on. I said, they said, what do you think is the most, it was like the most common toolbox that you see around or emerging? What's emerging that you're seeing? And I wrote, I put that, I said, Harbor Freight. I said, U.S. General. I said, you can't go in the shop without seeing the U.S. General roll cart. I said, and the guys I know who have Matco and Snap-on boxes, they have Harbor Freight U.S. General roll carts. Everybody has them. Probably
I got
because
one
of the
sitting
price.
behind me.
There's got to be some kind of a quality issue there if all these guys have it. I said, so their gain and everybody else's loss. So I was very honest with my comments, like I like to be. So I'm curious to see if I either get my account closed or they give me a toolbox. I don't know.
Well, they're convenient and not that bad of a price. I got one sitting behind me loaded with tools and a welder.
Absolutely, I understand.
Well,
I don't know.
I tell them all the time because they asked us, and I said, you can't compete against it, and a lot of the guys, unfortunately, a lot of the mentality of this is they'll buy 2 or 3 of them before they actually all of a sudden then they say, oh, okay, well, this is my 3rd one and this doesn't hold up. Then they've already spent the money to buy the quality one.
Yeah.
And then they finally buy the quality one. It's just like floor jacks. We talk about this all the time. I got guys that have the Harbor Freight floor jack and they have a pile of them. Yeah. I mean, literally, they have 10, 15 of them piled up because they last a year. If I get a year out of it because of the cost, if I get a year out of it, I'm ahead. That's how their mentality of it is.
Yep.
And it's funny. I had a tire shop. They finally bought one from me, and everybody fights over it because they don't have a problem with it. But they got 27 Harbor Freight ones.
See, if now if a company like Matco or Snap-on would be smart, they'd find out who's actually manufacturing those U.S. General boxes and buy the damn company,
Well,
Yeah.
and now just market it. Keep the U.S. General name because everybody knows it, but now it's just sold by them, and then you guys could, like, say if Matco bought them, you could sell them off your truck.
yeah.
You know, so all right, so you sell 5 of those to one box. It's still money in your pocket, you know, but they'd have to buy the company. You know.
Hey,
Yeah,
Brian,
I'll take-
what fails on those Harbor Freight jacks?
The pumps.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they actually blow them out. I mean, and you
I'm looking over here at
huh?
I'm looking over here at my Harbor Freight jack and going,
Oh.
oh.
No, usually, I mean, unfortunately, and I've caught guys doing this, you know, because they've even blown out our jack. I mean, they've blown out, you know, our 3.5 ton jack. Because I'll go by, and the guy's picking up a box truck,
Oh God.
you know, and he's
Wow.
picking up a box truck, and it'll do it. Trust me, I use the Matco one and to pick up the tool truck to do the brakes on it. I know that eventually one day I'm going to blow the seal out of it. I mean, I'm going to blow the pump.
Okay.
It's not meant for that much weight.
I got a
This
question.
one,
Brian, you can probably help me with this. I don't know the name of it, but it's for taking a lug nut off of a big vehicle, and it gives you more torque or
impact wrench.
what is? No. It's something you do by hand, but it gives you more.
A torque, like a wrench extender. I'm thinking you just use a 4-foot breaker bar.
Yeah, but they make a. I got a bad back, so I got to.
You need one of those guns right there.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that when I'm out on the road, it's an adapter you put on your wrench.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's
gear
like
driven or something, and it
Yeah.
like multiplies.
It's a torque
yeah.
multiplier.
Oh, torque.
Yeah, that's-
Is that what it's
Oh,
called?
yeah, torque.
They're still selling those IR guns.
Oh yeah, man, the old guns, man.
I just got this catalog today. I don't know if you ever heard of this place. It's called Wrenchers.
Oh yeah, no.
Never heard of them.
I don't know how I got on their list, but they got me on their list. And
I had to look into it, Lewis. I don't know. I know. I don't know right offhand about the multipliers.
have
Yeah.
I
seen
think
a
you
guy-
have a 20-year-old strong kid follow you around. From,
About it too. I seen
Yeah.
another bus. They had one and they were using it, and I forgot to write down what it was, the name of it and stuff. So
Was it? Did they use a hammer to hit it with, or was it just regular
no, they put a breaker bar on.
Oh,
Yeah, I just like here. Granger has one. It's $1,600.
what are lug nuts on a bus?
Really?
Yes,
Jeez.
that is insane.
Have the idea, Brian?
I have no idea.
There's a link in the private chat.
But
I
you
just
guys,
did some search, so that's probably not even what you're looking for. But
Do you know what the lugs get torqued to on the bus?
I don't know.
No, Lewis.
Lewis,
Wait, say again?
Do you
What's
know
the
what
torque
what
specs
lug
on the
nuts
bus?
get torqued to on the bus?
No, I have no clue.
Probably
Because
use
that would equate to how much force you needed to loosen them.
they
You
probably
guys
use
are-
that German torque spec, like Gudentite.
Guten
Yeah.
Tag.
Good night.
Hey,
you
look, I had at the shop. They sent me a Mercedes SUV, and I know they had the wheels off there at the shop because they determined it needed front end parts, and they sent it to me to put the front end stuff in. I know the wheels were just off it. I could not get the wheels off. The factory says torque them to 150 foot-pounds, and these guys, I don't know what they did putting them on, but
They squeezed the handle one. I mean, they squeezed the trigger one too many times.
it just so happened that Mike, the guy who owns the shop, came down a little later on, and I said, "Listen," I said, "you were just at the other shop. Who put these wheels on?" I don't remember. I said, "Well, find out." I said, "Grab him, put him lift him up into the corner, and tell him, don't you put these things." I said, "Tell him to stop this." I said, "If this car's on the road somewhere, you never get the wheel off it." That's when I bought my 4-foot breaker bar. So I needed
when
a
you guys
4-foot
were
breaker.
talking about floor jacks a little while ago, I didn't get to tell you because the conversation changed, but the floor jack I have is still one of the originals by Sears Craftsman. It's
Yeah.
a 3-ton. It thing's a lug to pull around, but It's been reliable and awesome. It's from the 80s. Floor jack. Seriously, this thing is so old,
I have an old silver one like that too.
but it works perfect. I've never had a problem with it.
I had one of those. Joey, and I can't remember when, but about the third set of brake pads I put on the tool truck, I blew the piston out of it, and I couldn't find a kit to fix it because it was so freaking old. That was a great jack. It was the same one I had.
Yeah, I mean, I lift 2,500 and 1-ton trucks with it and never had.
Yeah, well, the tool truck is 17.5, so.
Oh, well, that's different. That's why it blew out.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I got to bail. Gotta get up early, and I got guys.
Jim.
Man.
See you,
Thanks
Jim.
for hanging out with
Take
us.
care, Jim.
Hey,
All right,
Randy,
jump
real
ship,
fast. I don't know if you saw that Keys to the Kingdom, that book came out by John Moss.
Oh no.
I thought that might be a good interview for you for the radio show.
If he's doing interviews, yeah.
Give Bill a call because Bill has him on speed dial.
Okay.
I just thought it was a good idea for you guys.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Jim.
All right,
Jim.
take care.
All right.
Good night.
Take care.
Take care, Jim.
So I'm going to jump ship too, but before that, I'm going to say that everybody in the chat, please go check us out on PowerTube TV, and you can watch all the greatest hits. And I just sent one over today that has our good friend is not with us anymore, John. So it kind of set me back a minute when I was sending it, but it was a good interview.
But you know what?
Yeah.
That's good because that's the way you keep the guy's memory alive. You keep talking about him. You keep in rotation, and you share it with the people who never had the pleasure of meeting him.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
I was wondering, Ray, have you heard from his wife about any of his cars or parts or anything?
No,
Yeah.
I was talking with her. We were texting back and forth. It's a while ago now.
Yeah.
It's like before the winter. So, and she's like that. She keeps very private and to herself. So, like when she's ready, she reaches out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she doesn't. So, yeah.
I keep looking, like randomly on Facebook and see if there's any of his stuff, Trans Am. I'm like, I don't see anything, so I don't know.
Well, I know he told me before he passed
What's
that he
happening
was
with
there was a friend of
parts,
his. There was a friend of his that he was going to pass the car over to finish. I don't even remember who the guy was. I don't even remember his name.
It's funny that you say that, though, Keith, because last week on my, on my Facebook thing being emailed, it said John made a comment, and I was like, John,
what?
Like, what the hell? And then I figured he might. I don't know if his account had gotten hacked or whatever, but like I said, it was just kind of spooky.
I was just gonna say
because
spooky,
it was
yeah.
like I'm trying to think. I don't have that many. I don't have that many friends or people I know named John, even though I know it's a very common name. But so of course I go and click, and there's it's Chassis John liking something, and I'm like, well,
Wow.
that's kind of weird.
That is strange.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
I miss old John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right, guys.
Hey,
All right,
Lewis.
Lewis.
All right,
Real
Lewis,
quick
take
before
care.
you jump.
Yeah.
Before you
I'll,
jump, sorry, I should have brought it up earlier, but I put it in the group chat. I got those Holly retro brights, and I got them in on the Blazer. I got them in last night. It took about maybe an hour to swap them in. I did it, and it might not have taken a full hour if I did it in the daylight. I did it with the flashlight. I couldn't wait to get them on. We had camp yesterday, so I had to do camp, and I came back. And but
Big difference. Big difference.
Big
Yeah.
difference.
I saw your pictures.
On the pictures I posted, the before and after, it doesn't do it justice. When you're out and about with the original lights and there's no street lights, it is dim as can be, like candlelight dim. And in fact, my wife was mentioning earlier how she didn't like driving it at night because she couldn't see. And I put these things on. I took that picture and then I took it around the corner. I went over by the junkyards. There's a couple junkyards not too far from here. And I figured that's a good place where it's good and dark. And that thing, it lit up.
Nice.
I have to make a couple adjustments on it. I had a couple cars coming at me. Nobody flashed me, so I know it's not right in their eyesight. My right side one is up and to the right, but even still, the beam right in front of you, it's concentrated and bright, but then there's like a forebeam or foreshadowing beam, whatever, that lights up the road, but it's not overbearing. Like it's
got a
just
fan.
perfect.
Got a fan.
Yeah,
Hands it out.
So, and that's in what year, Blazer?
it's a 95 and it's got the square headlights.
And you had no problem with the space on the passenger side? Passenger side, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was able to pull the I was thinking I was
Battery.
gonna have to take the battery out. What I did was I pulled the harness back underneath and then got it out to where I could work with it. I did have to do a little bit of fabrication to the plug because you have two plugs that are straight on and one that's cantered, and I had to cut on that one to get it to go at a 90 degree.
So that truck does have headlight relays in it, right?
I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to pull up the
My buddy Kevin, the guy I go to cruise nights with, he came over last night. I lent him my JC Whitney headlight adjuster because he got the hidden headlights working on his 68 GTO. He put the electronic
Lewis.
Take care, Lewis.
He put the electronic
Hey,
door
Lewis.
motors in instead of the vacuum.
Yeah.
He took my advice and he did what I did, just seal beam halogen headlights, but he wired in headlight relays.
Yeah.
And it
Makes brighter.
it's like what you're seeing with those lights. You can't imagine how much more power goes to the light when there's no
Instead of
voltage
going through the
drop.
light switch. I mean,
Yeah, when
that's
there's no voltage
I mean,
drop.
yeah.
You know, I did it to all of my cars, and he did his, and man, his lights are nice and white. So if you don't have them, take a look, and I can send you some diagrams, some schematics.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
actually I just watched a guy on Instagram. I saved the reel. Maybe if I could figure out how to post it. He had a really good drawing about putting in a 5-pin, the Bosch 5-pin,
All you need is one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a 4 or 5?
That's a 5.
Yeah.
Guys, I got a bail.
And an 87A, but I bought it off of
See you, Joey.
Amazon.
All right, Joey, take it easy.
Dropping
Alright,
quick.
Off
See you guys.
Amazon, I bought a set of. I took a chance because it popped up in my feed and said you might like this. So it's a 5-pin Bosch style relay, but it has built into it I have one
The
right here.
fuse? The fuse built in?
It's right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I got some of those.
The
It's
fuse
neat.
is built in right here.
Yeah.
So the fuse is actually in the relay.
Yeah.
Not the socket. So, and I put these in a couple applications too. So now, I mean, all that does is it saves you from running the wires for the separate, for the power fuse for the number 30 terminal. But
Yeah,
So-
this video I had a really good, what the difference between 57A and 57B and how to have it cut, wire. So that's the biggest problem. Like in the state of Maryland, fog lights, when you have high beams on, the fog lights are supposed to go out, and you can't. That's that's the way it's supposed to be, and that's usually one of the reasons they get you because you're running around with your high beams and a fog
lights.
light on, and so forth.
what would they do? What would they do with a guy like me who has yellow high beams?
Well, I'll tell you exactly because I had yellow headlights in the Mustang.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And when I went by, I turned all the Montgomery County cars P yellow because they're white. And when I went by, there was P yellow, and I'd get pulled over, and they would all ask me why, because it was illegal because yellow headlights do not have the same reflection off of street signs or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it's against the law, or it's not. You get a citation for safety violation. And you have to change back over to your white headlights.
All right, so back to wiring and the relays. Just reminded me. Maybe Ray can help with this. I have a 2014 Chevy Sonic with
Okay.
the whatever's in there was 1.8 or something like that, and I want to rig the cooling fan to stay on all the time. Well, all the time with the ignition. And I tried, I mean, just to figure out, what I had to do. There's a what is there? Not a capacitor. There's like a coil or something.
It's
that,
probably more of a thermistor.
Okay. So I tried to just, hot wire it and whatever fuse I used a 30 amp. It blew a 30 amp.
Woohoo!
Going. So I was like, what the heck?
Let
All
me
I
ask
wanted,
you, why do you want that to come on with the key all the time?
because there's something wrong with it. And when the AC comes on, the fan shut off.
Oh,
And then the car starts overheating.
all right.
Which
Well,
did
I'll
turn on
I'll
when
tell you
the
this.
AC comes on.
I would imagine, being that the car was that year, the fan is controlled through the ECU,
Right.
through the temperature sensor and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that's your loop, and you're not going to really get into the ECU, obviously.
Yeah.
At that point, I would probably disconnect the fan wiring and go with an aftermarket transducer. They have one that goes like you loosen the clamp on the hose and just sticks into the hose, and you clamp it back down.
Oh, okay.
That's a common one.
Yeah.
Unless you have a
And just-
well in the radiator, which you probably don't. And then
We're talking about the measure of the heat.
and
Just for
just,
heat,
right,
so it comes on.
and
Yeah.
just use.
Yeah.
And then there's usually like a rheostatic controller that'll actually
You turn it.
adjust when it comes on
Yeah.
and off.
I'm trying
and-
not to spend a bunch of money on it. It's good.
Well, that's-
The car's beat up.
That's
Real
like
bad.
just an accessory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I put one of those in my 5.0 in my Mustang.
Yeah.
Where I had that, and then it had that kit had a bypass so that when you turned on the AC, it would run full all the time.
right.
And I just left it where it was hooked to a switch where I didn't have to have the AC on. I just instead of hooking it to the AC compressor, I just hooked the switch underneath the dash and I could turn it and have the fan run.
Yeah. See, so my Cyclone, I had that when I originally put the dual fans on there. I had a switch, and then I had the thing where you adjust it, and I guess I had it adjusted wrong. Went to work, come out, fans are on. I go, oh, the fans will just stay on for a little bit. I go to-
All day later and a dead
Come
battery.
out, dead battery. I'm like, son of a gun. I'm like, what the heck? I jump it. As soon as I started jumping, the fans are on. I'm like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
even now, when it gets hot, the truck's completely off, and the fans will kick on once in a while.
Yeah.
But it doesn't kill the battery. I don't. It's not set, so it'll kill the battery.
Yeah,
But this
that's
car, the Sonic, I just want this thing when I turn the ignition, I want the fans to come on all the time.
Well, basically, all you gotta do, like I said, is on that power wire, going to the fans. All you gotta do is run it to 15 power. 15 power is key. 30 would be straight battery. So it's really not that difficult. You just gotta look at the wiring diagram.
Actually,
Yeah.
So
if you find the relay, 87 switches negative, 87A switches positive. So
Yeah.
you could just
See what relay it is.
yes, and you could make the adjustment at the relay terminal. Because
So
you need
is
the
it-
relay to switch the load.
They have things. You just got to be careful because you don't want to really spread the terminal out on the fuse box. But they have where a terminal in will fit on the bottom that when you plug it in,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
hook
I've
your
seen
wire
those.
to. That's
Yeah.
I have one of those in the tool truck for the rear AC unit. That's how that's hooked. I mean, that's how it came from when they installed the rear AC unit.
Oh, wow, they use
Like I
that.
said, huh?
They that's how they installed it instead of.
That's how they tapped into it. And they just run the wire right from that area.
Yeah.
I mean, from that relay, like Ray was saying, would come. So when I flip the switch, then it comes on. That's where it's getting its power. The
Alright, so-
15.
So my question is you mentioned when you turn the AC on, so it's running hot when you turn the AC on, like the fans shut off when you turn the AC on, but under regular driving without the AC, it doesn't do that.
I don't know. I haven't driven the car around, but
'Cause
I know if it's sitting, like when I start, it's weird. I think something's going on with the ECU. There's probably some bad sensor or something. Because I'll start the car up, the fan will be on, the AC will be on, it'll be running for a while, it'll be fine, and all of a sudden, the fan just shut off. AC is still going. Well, at a certain point, the AC shuts off because it just gets too much pressure. Right? It gets too hot. The pressure gets too high, but the fans don't come back on. I'm like, what the heck? And it blew the fan fuse once, and I replaced it. Like it had those big, it's like I don't know, a 40 amp maybe, and I replaced that. But now I'm just like, I just want these fans to stay on. I don't care. When we turn we're in Florida. It needs to run all the time anyway.
You might want to get an air comb and blow out the condenser and the radiator because you probably have a whole bunch of sand buildup and you're having an airflow problem.
Oh, that could be. I don't know. I'm trying to remember how much work.
Especially with that old of a vehicle, because you can also see if you had a set of gauges on it and see if you're actually building too much pressure.
I have gauges. I can put them on there.
You can see, and you can also just take your garden hose, and while you have the gauge on there and this is going
hose
on,
it down,
hose off the condenser and see, because it's it may be a, I don't want to really get like, a complex problem, but you could have something triggering something on down the road.
I'll show you how simple that circuit can be. All right. So
full screen this sucker.
Up here is your relay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the fuse box.
Uh-huh.
That's the cooling fan.
Yep.
And then it goes down to, that's the radiator cooling. That's the sensor.
Okay.
And it all ends at ground. Just that's it. This is right from the factory Fiat wiring diagram. Because I know that my car, that's how that car works.
So what I would look at is if it runs with the AC on when you turn the AC. What I would do simplistically is to see which wire triggers when the AC goes on at the fan.
Yeah.
And then when it kicks off, see if you've got power to that wire, because maybe it's the fan motor itself overloading and shutting down the fans.
Oh, pulling too much.
Brian, you'll like this. Remember, you see just the ground
yeah.
page, roll the different grounds.
Now the other thing is you said that you hooked it to the 30 amp fuse. Did you have a relay in between?
At first, no.
Because that would,
because it was just easier to just go.
Yeah, that would have popped the fuse right there. So like the setup that Ray and Brian were talking about with that
relay
temp piece, that has a relay with it. I've got one on my Blazer when I put up the electric fans before.
Actually, Coach is right on. I mean, it could be that once it builds up heat and it's kind of like
the motor could stop.
Well, the motor, it's almost like a GMs were real famous for this, and so is Ford's. I mean, they all do it. Electronic fuel pumps.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come in and the car will have a blown fuse for a fuse pump for the fuel pump, and you're like, you replace the fuse and the car starts up and runs and everything's great. But if you don't put you can put an amp meter on it and see how many amps you're pulling, because once it heats up and gets to a certain load, then it has that problem. It could be. I know you don't want to put a lot of money in it, but instead of complicating or it might just be a bad fan motor.
Yeah.
You can
pull too much of a load.
Pulling too much of a load.
I think I might have put a new fan on that thing, but I'm saying a new fan. It was some cheap China fan.
Right.
I know I spent a lot of money.
But like I said, I mean, sometimes we overcomplicate things where just because we wanted to make it look like Christmas and string lights all over the place or wiring, like I said, putting a amp meter on it and see what you're pulling for amps, just to, that could be something
Yeah,
simple
I
instead
can do
of
that.
instead of causing more of a trouble, because
Yeah.
usually 9 times out of 10 it's usually fairly simple or a bad ground. Right,
Brian,
right.
you get a kick
Always
out of this.
about
I found when I bought the manual, I saved a receipt. So I had bought the electrical diagram manual, and I also bought one Bosch L-Jetronic injection book to diagnose the L-Jetronic on my 81 that I had.
Your reality.
No, the on my Fiat.
Oh,
The 81 had the injection. Yeah, that was actually 80 was 80 was the first year, but 79 was a swing year. So like the 79 I have has a carburetor. It's an early 79. Some late 79s actually got injection, and then the 80s had it, but I heard some early 80s had carburetors. But so you know what? We're talking about wiring and plugs. Let's pull a plug on this broadcast. So it doesn't overload YouTube and Lewis's feed, and we'll continue on privately. So for playing traffic loosely, Ray Guarino, Maco Man, Brian, of course, Justin, Isaac, whoever that guy is in the green shirt, Keith. We had
name's right there.
We had Jim, well, everybody, and we'll be back next week, and maybe I'm gonna have Lake Speed on the radio show on Sunday. Lake Speed Jr., and I'm going to try and get him onto this show. So you want to get some oil technology, man? He's the guy. He's the tribologist. So, all right, we'll end this now, and we'll stay, and then we'll be back next week.
See you guys. See you next week, everybody.
See?